What would you do if someone you barely trusted demanded you care for their child, only to turn on you with an accusation so wild it could tear a family apart? My name is Claire, and last summer, I found myself at the heart of a storm I never saw coming. It all started with a phone call from my sister-in-law, Melissa, whose voice carried that sharp edge of entitlement I'd come to dread. She didn't ask, she ordered. "Claire, you're watching Ethan this weekend. I have a work retreat, and Tom's out of town. You're free, right? No room for no. No consideration that I, a 28-year-old graphic designer with deadlines piling up, might have a life. But family is family, and Ethan, her 6-year-old son, was a sweet kid, so I agreed. I didn't know that decision would lead to a confrontation that would change everything. Melissa dropped Ethan off at my apartment Friday evening, her designer heels clicking impatiently as she rattled off instructions like I was her personal assistant. No sugar after 6, no screen time past 8, and don't let him play with those weird art supplies of yours, she'll get ideas. I bit my tongue, nodding as I took Ethan's backpack. He stood there, small and quiet, clutching a stuffed dinosaur, his big blue eyes scanning my cluttered living room. I smiled at him, hoping to ease his nerves, but Melissa was already halfway out the door. "I'll be back Sunday night," she called, not even looking back. The door slammed, and it was just me and Ethan, strangers thrown together by obligation. I wasn't used to kids. My apartment was a chaotic shrine to my work sketches pinned to walls, paint tubes scattered, a half-finished canvas on an easel. But Ethan's curiosity lit up the space. He gravitated to my art supplies, asking questions that showed a spark beyond his years. "Why do you mix colors like that?" he'd ask, pointing at a vibrant swirl of paint. I let him try, guiding his tiny hands to blend hues on a spare canvas. His laughter filled the room, and for the first time, I felt a connection with this kid I barely knew. We spent the weekend building forts, reading dinosaur books, and painting. He even asked about the rainbow flag pinned above my desk, a gift from a friend's pride event. "It's about love," I told him simply. "All kinds of love." He nodded, like it was the most natural thing in the world. Saturday night, something shifted. Ethan crawled onto the couch, his dinosaur tucked under his arm, and asked, "Aunt Claire, can boys like boys?" The question caught me off guard, but his tone was pure curiosity, not judgment. I thought of my own coming out years ago, the fear and the freedom of it. "Sure they can," I said gently. "People love who they love, and that's okay." He smiled, satisfied, and changed the subject to T-Rexes. I didn't think much of it. Kids ask big questions sometimes. But that moment planted a seed, one I didn't know would grow into a wildfire. Sunday evening, Melissa stormed into my apartment without knocking, her face a mask of fury. Ethan was asleep on the couch, paint smudged on his cheeks. "What did you do to my son?" she hissed, her voice low but venomous. I blinked, confused. "What are you talking about?" She thrust her phone at me, showing a photo Ethan had posted on her tablet's sloppy painting of 2 stick-figure boys holding hands under a rainbow. "He said you told him boys can like boys. Are you trying to turn him gay?" Her words hit like a slap, sharp and surreal. I stood there, stunned, as she ranted about agendas and corrupting her child. My heart pounded, not with guilt, but with a rising anger I hadn't expected. Before I could respond, a new voice cut through the tension. My neighbor, Mrs. Alvarez, a kind-eyed retiree who'd popped by to drop off cookies, stood in the doorway. She'd overheard everything. "Melissa, I've known Claire for years," she said, her voice calm but firm. "She's got more heart than anyone. If Ethan's asking questions, it's because he's smart, not because she's pushing anything." Melissa faltered, caught off guard by this unexpected ally. Mrs. Alvarez continued, "Kids see the world clearer than we do. Maybe you should listen to him instead of yelling." Her words hung in the air, a quiet rebuke that shifted the room's energy. Melissa grabbed Ethan's things, waking him abruptly, and stormed out, leaving me shaken but grateful for Mrs. Alvarez's intervention. The next day, I couldn't let it go. Melissa's accusation wasn't just personal, it was an attack on who I was, on the truth I'd shared with Ethan. I called her, my hands trembling as I dialed. "We need to talk," I said when she picked up. She tried to brush me off, but I pushed forward. "You accuse me of something vile, Melissa." I told Ethan it's okay to be himself, whoever that is. That's not an agendate's love. If you can't see that, you're the one hurting him. My voice cracked, but I kept going. He's a kid, not a battleground. Let him grow up free to ask questions, to paint rainbows, to be whoever he's meant to be. You don't get to twist that into something ugly. There was silence on the line, then a shaky breath. "I overreacted," she admitted, her voice smaller than I'd ever heard. "I saw that painting, and I panicked. I don't know why. It wasn't an apology, not really, but it was a crack in her armor. I seized it. Then talk to him, Melissa. Really talk. He's not confused, he's just curious. And he deserves a mom who trusts him." She didn't say much after that, but I could tell something had shifted. We hung up, and I felt a weight lift, not because we'd fixed everything, but because I'd said what needed saying. Weeks later, I got a text from Melissa. It was a photo of Ethan's latest painting another rainbow, this time with dinosaurs dancing under it. "He wanted you to see this," she wrote. No apology, no grand gesture, but it was enough. I smiled, thinking of Ethan's bright eyes and fearless questions. Maybe I hadn't changed Melissa's mind entirely, but I'd planted a seed, just as I had with Ethan. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough to make a difference. Looking back, I don't regret a single moment of that weekend. Not the pain on my couch, not the hard words, not even the accusation. Because in standing up for Ethan, I stood up for myself, for the truth that love is love, no matter what. And if I could go back, I'd say it all again louder, clearer, with every ounce of my heart. Because some fights are worth having, and some kids are worth fighting for.